Hey, welcome back to another Midweek Devotional here at Faith Assembly of God in Lisbon, North Dakota. We are excited to be back for another Midweek Devotion. And tonight, of course, begins our journey into the book of Revelation. We're really excited about that. I've been working really hard on that. So if you're in town or nearby and want to join us, we would love to have you. It's just going to be really diving into the eschatology of the church, the things to come. And so we're excited about that. But this isn't about Revelation. Today we're getting into our midweek devotional, and we're going to be looking one more time at Psalm 34, verse 4. And we're just going to dig just a little deeper into some thoughts on that passage. So read with me if you'd like. It says, "I sought the Lord, and he answered me and delivered me from all my fears." One thing that's interesting is I was putting this devotional together, I thought of a certain country song that was very popular when I was much younger by a guy by the name of Garth Brooks. You might have heard of him. And the song, it talks about a time he and his wife run into an old girlfriend, his high school girlfriend, at a hometown football game. And as they reconnect and they begin talking with each other, he begins to remember all the times he prayed that this girl would become his wife, that lady would be the one he'd be with forever. And as he tells the story, as Garth tells the story, he says he looks at his wife and all he could think about was how he thanked God for the unanswered prayers. Well, the fact is, in reality and not in country music, God does answer our prayers. He answers all of our prayers. Sometimes it's just an answer we don't like. Sometimes the answer is yes. Sometimes the answer is no. And sometimes the answer is just wait. But God is always faithful to answer. And many of us have been in a place like Garth Brooks, right? Where maybe he wasn't really the one. Maybe it was the songwriter who experienced that, or maybe it's a completely fictional story. But some of us have been in that position where we wanted something really bad. And we prayed and we prayed and we prayed. But then the dust settles, and years later, weeks later, maybe even just days later, we look back and we say, God, thank you for not giving me what I wanted. Right? So Matthew 6:8, it tells us that God knows what we need before we even ask him. And sometimes what we're asking him for is not what we actually need. Sometimes what we're asking him for is not something that's in his will for us or just in his will at all. We still ask because asking develops trust in him. And when he does answer, when he opens the door, to something, that's great. Whenever he closes the door, we need to understand he is still God. He is still sovereign. He knows what's best for us. And when we seek him, he promises we will find him. If we ask, he says it'll be given to us. Matthew 7:7-8 says, ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and it will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives, and the one who seeks finds. And to the one who knocks it will be opened. And here's the hard truth. We are to pray in accordance with God's will. That's what's so difficult for so many people. We're not to make God a magic genie, but we are to pray in order that we glorify him and grow in him. Right before Jesus says that in Matthew 6, he tells the disciples, we are to pray, God, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. C.S. Lewis once said there are two types of people that exist. And I'm probably going to butcher the quote, but here's the gist of it. There are two types of people. Those who say to God, thy will be done, and those whom God says, your will be done. Psalm 37 tells us, delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. That's true. He does give us the desires of our heart, but what's the first thing it says? Delight yourself in him. When we delight ourselves in him, we're in his will. He's happy to give us more of himself. If our desire is always more of God, he loves to give that to us. If we seek him and we trust him, when he answers, whether it is yes or whether it is no, our fear begins to fade because we understand that he is working all things together for our good, right? Romans 8:28. God does give us, though. He does give us the desires of our heart. Like I said, if it's more of him, I think he loves nothing more than to give us more of him. But if it's something else, he weeps as we go chasing after it. So the question becomes, what are we praying for? What are we asking God? Is this in line with your will? Can I do this? May I do this? Are we just saying, Lord, let your will reign? Are we saying, Lord, you have your way in this situation? So that's the question. That's the challenge this week. Take some time. Ask yourself, what have I been praying and why have I been praying these things? And ask the Holy Spirit to give you discernment and to understand why you may not be seeing the answers to your prayer. Maybe the answer is no. Maybe the answer is not yet. Maybe the answer is get in line with my will, right? So that's it for this week. I hope you have a great rest of your week. Hopefully I see you tonight at our Revelation class. If I don't, I will see you Sunday. God bless you. And again, have a great rest of your week.